So I'm here servicing an MX2. The very first thing I do is I pull the gantry forwards, and I give it a bit of a wobble and see where we've got slop. If we've got any twisting motion, it's the V-wheels. If we've got any linear slop, then it's generally these backlash nuts here wearing and you get a little bit of compression. So the first things we do with these machines is we pull off the Makita trimmer, we pull off the brackets, and then we pull off the linear rails. Once that's done, we untension the belts, pull the belt off, and then we can get in there and replace the V-wheels, because you can probably see that the bolts for doing it are just nested in behind these rails, so the whole thing has to come apart. In order to do the anti-backlash nut that comes off just here, I find it so much easier just to pull the stepper motor completely off, let it hang out, and then there's enough wiggle room and bend in the screw where I can just bend it around the back and unwind the backlash nut from there. Last but least is you give it all a bit of a grease up before you reassemble. Reassemble in the reverse order before you get to the point of putting the Makita trimmer back on, is grease the rails and move the blocks forwards and backwards to load all the bearings with grease, and apply more grease until you find that they're fully loaded. Doing the gantry side plates, the one with the cable hanger is the hardest, just fiddly. So what I do is I pull the hanger off and I just move it straight out the way. I loosen off both the front and back V-wheels, pull the motor off, and then I pull the back V-wheel out, and that allows me to pull the anti-backlash nut out, because you're unable to get the nut off the V-wheel with the anti-backlash nut in there, so you have to remove that first. So while this anti-backlash nut is currently out, I will replace this front wheel, and then I'll put the anti-backlash nut in, and then I'll put the rear wheel back on and reconnect the motor, and then I'll repeat it for the other side. So I found that I had to drill out the screw. This is quite common. Once you get the screw head off, you should be able to use some vice grips and pull it apart. So I've just unwound it, and it's good to go back in. So again, on this side I have replaced the front one, and then I've put the new anti-backlash nut in, and I will now replace the second V-wheel as well. So here we are looking at the right hand gantry plate. So you can see there we've got a bit of rotational movement going on, so that's the V-wheels. I've loosened them completely off. You'll need a 10mm opening spanner to jump onto the eccentric nut and just move it around until we start feeling it tension up on bottom rail. So that's improved, but we're still a little bit loose. And then now we're rock solid. I'm just going to tweak that back one up a little bit, and then once we've done that, we'll connect the motor back up. We'll run the machine backwards and forwards, left and right and stuff a few times. We'll grease up the lead screw. Once that's happened, the wheels would have bedded in a little bit better into the bottom rail, and then we can readjust them. Servicing kit comes with some super lube, and they just click open like a tomato sauce packet. So I've just gone and squished the whole heap on the lead screws. Usually it's you'll need 2, possibly 3 packets for smaller to bigger. I'm going to run this in there and get all that grease flowing and bed those wheels in.